모닝 파워! 모닝 터보!
We're back here at the Jin Air SSL series, SSL Premier Season 1 on right now, Day 8. And we're going into the 5th best of 3 of the night, the final one. It's going to be SOS, $$, currently 10th place up against his opponent in first place, INnoVation.
SOS, one of the most hyped players coming into this tournament with his results, and also being, until this last season of GSL, the final season of 2016's GSL finalist, losing that series against Bjorn, just having such a big name behind him, being on the defending champion team of Pro League, perhaps the last team that will ever win Pro League. But he's just really at the bottom along with Zest today, and they shared a word after Zest's defeat and demise, being relegated now into Challenge. SOS may face the same fate as he plays against the top player in this round robin INnoVation. Yeah. Came in today in first place. So looks to just close this one out to get his $800 today.
To put it into perspective, going into our 4th series Alive, he was in 8th place up against Zest, who is in 9th place, and I still expected Alive to take the sweep 2-0 quick victory. Now it's INnoVation who's in first place compared to Alive, who's in 8th, up against SOS with the same score as Zest. So I think this might just be one of our dirtiest series here, Wolf.
It could be.
To put it straight.
It might be clean on the side of INnoVation, but it might be quick as well. Our 3 maps are going to be Overgrowth, Abyssal Reef, and Whirlwind. Let's jump into our first map right now to see if SOS can upset.
SOS, 김유진. INnoVation, 이신혁.
Fly, better fly, Jin Air. Down here to start game number 1 in the bottom left, it is SOS.
That's right, his opponent to the top right in blue, it is INnoVation.
So these guys were chatting right at the beginning, and INnoVation was like, is the first map Overgrowth? I thought it was Abyssal Reef. And SOS was like, yeah, it's Overgrowth. Anyway, you're going to win, so it doesn't matter. So not a lot of confidence coming into this one out of our rich Protoss player, SOS.
SOS is the only 2-time BlizzCon champion of StarCraft 2. He is an earner of nearly 500,000, 476,000 to be precise, dollars of prize money in his career.
It's crazy.
But in today's matches, and the matches of this tournament, when you take the term SOS seems to take a new meaning in terms of $, perhaps he's donating the money to his opponents because he's given away several 2-0s in this tournament so far.
Brutal.
And
savage. Wrecked. Poor SOS.
Giving the 2-0 to Bjorn and Alive specifically already. Looks to go for a proxy here against INnoVation. As perhaps INnoVation was confused on the map, as you said in the lobby chat we saw earlier. SOS is going to try to take that to his advantage and throw him off here. Almost 100% will be a proxy Stargate. Even an early pylon here, he's going to have it the fastest possible Stargate. It's not hyper proxied and very unlikely to be scouted by the Reaper or the SCV.
But you know, like, the second that SCV goes on the main, he's going to be like, okay, proxy Stargate. He already skipped the Reaper and sent the SCV. He's taking the hit in economy to just be safer and not make the Reaper and just make more stuff that can hit air. He's like, okay.
He also was able to see... I
just want to make sure I don't die to this.
Like, he saw, first of all,
bunker
no additional pylon. He saw... I'm just going to take a gold base for this. This is interesting. This is very SOS-esque. He saw no warp gate research on the cybernetics core. That alone is enough to say, I know there's a Stargate, I just don't know where it is. He's going to walk right into it. As I said earlier, you know, it's unlikely the SCV scouts is that's in terms of just blind walking into it on its scouting pattern, but after seeing what he already had seen, he knew exactly what to do. has the bunker, has the eBay. Turrets are going to be started immediately. The first missile turret we've seen in a PvT today. This has been mostly just Widow Mines and Marines for the defense. He's even got a Cyclone on the way. And this is just, he's got every answer.
Yeah. You know what? SOS is doing what I usually recommend to players who are very heavily not favored, where it's like, okay, throw out the greasiest, dirtiest cheese you got, man, and hope that it sticks to the wall as you try to take out this player. But I don't know. I mean, this is pretty dirty. You know, the proxy Stargate into gold base on Overgrowth, but at the same time, I think INnoVation was expecting it too, and he's taking every precaution. Got to be careful not to prepare too much, you know, like make too many missile turrets, an extra Cyclone, an extra bunker, stuff like this.
I mean, had SOS made the Stargate, say the top left, and had a gold base INnoVation hadn't scouted, you could even make further that argument. Okay, he doesn't know about the gold base. If he plays too defensively here, perhaps he just straight up dies later on with SOS having the better economy. He's already seen the gold base. He already knows what SOS has planned. He's making additional bunkers, getting those barracks up. Later on, once he finally feels comfortable enough to drop out some Marines, he can actually fire on the probes from the low ground with high ground vision to finish them off. Going to be a 3 adept warp in with all the bunkers he's made here. SOS is really just trying to break him with the extra money from that gold base. Lock-on's already used here. So he's going to have 4 oracles, I believe, in total, and just the adepts.
Yeah, it'll be 4, and it looks like 6 adepts in total. So, I mean, we've seen Haas do it before with more Stargates and later on, but if you make enough oracles, you can certainly kill bunkers, Marines, Cyclones. This is not going to be the, you know, the super clean hold, I don't think.
Well, he's got the wall off here. He's going to commit to the shade in. The siege tank siege up is late, so he's going to get 2 shots off regardless before it goes down, and already so much damage done by the Marines in the bunker. He's finding a few more here. Actually going to target down Stim. That's actually kind of fun. Yeah, this is going to work out. That's going to be quite significant going forward into SOS taking a 3rd base, which I feel like he could be doing right now. He's going to fight these Marines straight up. Trades decently well because both oracles escape. And now there's that 3rd Nexus I was talking about, so this is actually quite huge that he kills the Stim. That's the biggest thing that SOS is now worried about going forward, is INnoVation is going to have this large bioforce that isn't as strong without it. Has to rebuild the tech lab. He could start to move across the map fairly soon, especially if he realizes SOS is taking that 3rd base. It's hard for him to know that. It's hard for him to gain that information. With SOS just constantly pressuring now with the Adepts. Going to the Forge, additional gateways, and all these Adepts still living is one of the most annoying parts of this. I like this missile turret a lot. INnoVation is just not leaving any holes in his defense. He knows that, theoretically, if he doesn't lose any economy and he continues to build attacking units, once he does have that Stim, which he should realistically already have, but if he did have it, he could do a lot of pressure. When he does have it, he'll be able to attack across the map, and SOS is going to struggle to defend without high-tech units.
5 oracles. That's the answer here from SOS. And, I mean, yeah, INnoVation has prepared. It's not even over-preparing at this point with the extra missile turret, but 5 oracles can fly in there and kill the missile turret before it kills even 1 oracle, if it's just 1 missile turret alone. So INnoVation definitely has to be kind of defensive at this point in time. And Resonating Glaives is the follow-up. We see a lot of tanks being made here by INnoVation. He's already got 1. He's making a 2nd one. Wants to, I suppose, build a similar composition that Maru built against Patience.
Basically, just wants to have this impenetrable army. He wants it to be unbreakable, impregnable. This fortress he's building, it is natural. And honestly, he probably should think about making a 3rd CC soon. Just in the main base for extra mules, so he can eventually lift that. He's going to make it right here on the edge of his base instead. It's fairly risky, but I guess it's without any turrets there, the Adepts could attack it in the main base, or rather the Oracles could attack it in the main base anyways. He's just continuing to make Oracles. He's going up to his 7th one. I mean, just to put this into perspective, if you're watching StarCraft for the first time or you're a newer viewer watching the SSL, this isn't normal. This is quite unusual, what we are watching right now. Oracles are not fighting units, generally speaking. In this weird, wonky game, you can find ways to make them valuable. He actually potentially could have picked off that SCV, but it looks like he was more worried about these drops at the moment. INnoVation scanned the main base. He wants to know how much infrastructure is there. Can he go for a drop? Because all the units are obviously focused here at the front. This is terrifying.
I think SOS might just kill him. I feel like almost INnoVation has played it so defensively, and I don't know if tanks are the answer to this. You're just going to get shaded, and those Marines that you built, these Oracles could just shred them to pieces with the help of all the Adepts.
Okay, well, this is so many Adepts. The bunker is not repaired. SCVs are fighting here. Widowmine's on the ramp, a bit too late, and it looks like he is just going to kill him. That is going to be lights out, man. The two most OP units of all, the Oracle and the Adept, to finish the game.
The two most Protossed.
He's been Protossed to death here. Look at this. Yeah. So many units in the main base already ready to defend. He's going to need more than that. In fact, if he... Okay, well, he's going to GG. I was going to say, if he, I guess, kills every probe, maybe he could try to base trade. But he knows there's a Stargate there. It's just not going to happen.
I feel like there's one thing we forgot to touch on, which is INnoVation. He's one of the most robotic players, you know, very mechanically strong. He hits the sickest timings of Terran, known to man. Everybody sees them and covers their eyes because they're so scary to watch if you're any other kind of race. But SOS is the exact opposite kind of player from INnoVation. Yeah. He is actually the innovator. He is the innovation. That's SOS, not INnoVation. So SOS comes in there and does something that INnoVation obviously never plays against, and INnoVation seemingly had no idea how to deal with it. He needed Widow Mines, he needed AoE to deal with the Adepts, even Ghosts perhaps to EMP, you know, earlier Ghosts. But yeah, he had tanks. What are tanks going to do against
only
that?
One bunker as well. He just didn't correctly identify that SOS was going to attack him with that commitment of a group of units. He wasn't going to be teching into further upgrades. So INnoVation now behind in this series as we move into our larger map, Abyssal Reef for game number 2. Can SOS close this series out? Would be a huge upset. Would protect his chances, at least temporarily. We're going to that second stage of Fastlane. Let's find out right now as we go into game number 2.
Here we go into game number 2. The unexpected has happened. SOS takes game number 1. Here he is down in the bottom right.
And up to the top left. In blue, it is INnoVation. Very frustrated with that last game. And you've played Pokemon before.
Yep.
No doubt, as many of our viewers in this generation of esports have. SOS is missing though. Okay, he's the Pokemon that you don't know what it's going to do, you don't know what its stats are, and every attack feels super effective against what you're trying to do. It's just gets into the code of INnoVation in here and rips him apart there. There was no way to expect, in a world that we live in after multiple years of competitive StarCraft in Korea, like 6 now, of years of StarCraft 2 history in Korea, there would ever be a game where someone attacks into bunker and a few siege tanks with 20 plus Adepts and 7 or 8 Oracles. It's not a thing that you think about or consider, and because of this, if we look back with hindsight bias, could make the argument maybe you should have just had 4 turrets on top of that and 3 bunkers and shouldn't have made the siege tanks, or maybe some more Cyclones, Widow Mines. In hindsight bias, it's super easy to figure out, oh, okay, yeah, when he comes in with a 22 Adept, 7 Oracle attack, this is what I should have had. What in the on the fly in this unusual circumstance, which is what SOS is so good at forcing, which is why he does so well in longer tournaments that are played over a shorter period of time, like Intel Extreme Masters or a DreamHack. BlizzCon, for example, really excels, and sometimes he can excel in one of the games in a best of 3 because he catches his opponents off guard, but in terms of straight up games, that's where INnoVation is the stronger player.
Yeah, and the thing about SOS too is that maybe you could say, well, you know it's SOS. You know, like, once you see 4 Oracles, of course he's going to keep making them. Well, the thing about SOS is that he is the guy that would go 4 Oracles and then just transition into, like, carriers in that game. And then in that case, you know, INnoVation should have taken a faster third and, you know, had a totally different strategy from what would be the answer to what we exactly saw. So that's why SOS is really the
well, I mean, SOS is crazy enough
to pretty much.
SOS is crazy enough to make a Zealot in 2017 with a probe, Zealot probe timing. he's gonna send the Mothership Core around. The CC actually might be forced to cancel.
Mothership Core is pretty far away.
I don't know, man. He's getting it across though.
It'll get there.
It's gonna be. He's gonna have a second adept and a third one coming up soon, or first and second adept to join the Zealot. 3 units for the attack. I don't know if he can hold this CC actually.
He's only got 3 Marines. Cyclone will pop out.
That's
which will be
the
good
key
against the ground units, the pylons, of course. But the Mothership Core is already here. It's going to arrive at the same time that the Cyclone pops out. And what will he overcharge? I think he's going to go for the safer choice and overcharge this one. Wants to cancel the CC 100%.
This is going to be really close. The Adept is coming up right now. The third one is going to a Stargate build. I think he has to cancel it. Yeah, that's such a tight build here from SOS. crowd's like gasping and like it's on the SOS class like a golf clap. Like whoa, well played.
The clap is just like, I don't know what I'm watching, but I guess it's really good, and no one quite could have expected this because it is SOS.
This happened, by the way, in the last game too with the crowd. I wish we had a SOS crowd cam right now.
Yeah, it's like everybody claps with confused faces at the same time. That's why SOS has so many fans too. I mean, you said he was a 2-time BlizzCon world champion, but outside of that fact is he just creates really fun games. It's like a Haas that actually wins a lot. And perhaps if he was on better form, we could have been seeing some crazier stuff in this league, but also him winning at the same time. And I think with the wins that Maru and Alive took today, both Zest and SOS were knocked out regardless if they won their 2 final matches. So look at that.
Oh man, like ships passing in the night.
Yeah, so SOS, I feel like he's almost doing the literal translation of I'm showing good games for the fans, because he has no way to make it into Premier or even into Fastlane at this point. But it's working. It's actually working against INnoVation.
Okay, well, the Cyclone attack is continuing over here, but he has the overcharge here. The Oracle does go down to the Widow Mine, though, so dreams shattered. The Cyclone attack continues at the front once more. Actually going to elevate her into the main base instead. So he's going to look to control the top of the ramp here. Looks for the Mothership Core. There's the double lock on. Wants to get that one overcharge off. Not even going to trigger it. Okay, last second, but
because he knows where he wants it. He knows if he does it, he won't have anything for here. And, well, he doesn't really have enough units. Good follow-up here by INnoVation.
He's going to have that forward warp gate, I guess, to go for counterattacks maybe. I don't even know if he's going to survive this. It just doesn't feel likely. One more Oracle does come out.
Oracle's going to be good here against the Marines. Will force the pickup. And SOS actually does hold this off for now. Going to warp in another 3 Stalkers and does have that gateway, as you were saying.
The Nexus is key here, as INnoVation's CC was so delayed. He's only just now morphing into an Orbital. The Oracle is going to follow the Mothership, or sorry, the Medevac like it's mother here for a minute. Finding some more harassment. Blink is not done yet, but he may not need it.
Oh, that was
one
so
more
close.
shot. INnoVation's going to send the Raven around for some harass now. Start stim. Even though INnoVation is technically ahead, it just doesn't feel like it because of, like, they're very similar in worker count. Obviously, the Tyrant's going to be happy with this. He has his base saturated. He's on the way to stim. He's done some harassment. The harassment isn't over. He's defended the Oracles. It doesn't feel like he's in a comfortable place right now, though. You know, this is the INnoVation that struggles to adapt in situations like this. And now he's going to be dealing with some annoying Blink Stalker pressure into the main base. Has the Siege Tank in position. SOS looks to pick it off here. Does get it. Will blink out. Auto turret harass. Meanwhile, on the main base, will force another warp. And he's not actually going to blink out.
Yeah, he can definitely fight here. I mean, he can just wait until that tank tries to reposition. By the way, Auto Turret gets 7 probe kills. There he is. He is going to actually blink away because that tank was in pretty good position. He's got another one down here at the natural.
That Adept even avoided the eye of our observer for most of this time. Got a few kills. So Oracle's going to rack up 4 more in total. So 6 kills on that Oracle, and he just wants to try to pick off units here in the main base. He's made a Phoenix right now. I think that's to lift the Siege Tank. He's just going to try to use the Phoenix to lift the Siege Tank.
Oh, it's for the Raven.
Well, I mean, it will deal with the Raven as well, but I think this is a two like multi-purpose Phoenix. He's gonna send it across the map after this. Just want to make all of his gateway ends over here. Ooh, this is an interesting commitment into this bunker. The SCV surround here is real, and this was not what he wanted. And he doesn't have anything at home in here anymore. GG, we're going to a game 3. I don't know what I'm casting. I don't know what I'm watching. All I know is that it's SOS, and if you remove the nameplate at the top of the screen, I would have been able to tell you that much.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you just know who the player is. And, well, you could even guess that it's INnoVation by the way he's playing too. Just kind of very straight up, but seems to be caught very off guard by the weird plays of SOS. Now we're going into Whirlwind, and I mean, we could see even weirder stuff like hidden bases, very turtley plays maybe, where he tries to go into fleet beacon tech. I'm expecting anything at this point. I just want to see it happen.
Well, it's going to happen now. We're going to watch it right here live. Tell your friends. SOS has a chance to come back in this best of 3. Winner actually has quite a significant jump in prize money here. INnoVation wants to solidify his top spot today. And Whirlwind is the map, another unusual large 4-player map. As we jump into game number 3, SOS versus INnoVation, the last map of the evening.
Here we go, on to Whirlwind. Another one of our 4-player maps in the pool. Down in the bottom right, it is SOS, the yellow Protoss.
And up to the top right, in blue, it is INnoVation. I don't know if I've ever seen him look this angry before either.
After that first game, I think anyone would be angry.
Like, I could...
Watching and casting that game made me feel angry.
I just feel like he didn't roll his eyes, but he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's got like that sarcastic, frustrated look on his face.
Oh, well, this is just... It just feels like everything about this series, in a way, doesn't make sense, but actually it absolutely does. To see the matchup between INnoVation and SOS. Well, see what SOS has planned for this map, because I guarantee you it's not going to be normal. This was...
The weirdest thing he could do is play normal at this point.
Yes. In some ways, that's why playing against him in the best of series is so terrifying. This is INnoVation's map pick, by the way. It was his second. And it made it into the best of 3 as a result because of the overlaps of Overgrowth and Abyssal Reef. So he gets it in. Newkirk Precinct will not be in this series.
Yeah, we've seen that map enough anyway. Give me some more Whirlwind. So, Reaper expands here from INnoVation. Good for the map. Needs that scouting information against Protoss like SOS. And SOS himself went pretty standard gate Nexus core.
With the, if you look at the map draft, actually, just to add an extra layer to this, it's equivalent and mirrored, with the exception of Whirlwind and Newkirk Precinct being at the second choices. So I believe that this was probably decided by coin toss. And see if SOS can find something wonky to do on this map. He obviously doesn't have as much power to counterattack and be aggressive with Blink Stalkers, Oracles, etc. on this map. Well, there's a lot of different ways he can delay the game and hide bases, for example, as he's known to do. Sends this probe, unfortunately, to the wrong location.
Look at INnoVation's play with the fast third base. To me, that is so ballsy. If I were INnoVation in this series, I would not be doing that because I would just be too scared. I'd be like, okay, you're proxying a Stargate somewhere, and I don't know if I can hold it off, but he's like, okay, this is a big map. I need to make sure that I play an economic game and get away with this. And it looks like it will be Resonating Glaives out of SOS.
Yep. And this is a really bad map for Reaper. As you guys could tell, there's not really a safe location for the Reaper to get into the main base, with the secondary ramp here being the only entrance and no other way to jump in the main base. Reapers didn't really function this way when the precursor to Whirlwind, which was Tall Dream Altar, was made, and the map has changed a lot, the meta has changed a lot, but it's kind of annoying in this matchup now in Legacy of the Void, with this map coming back. The Reaper just can't really get a good scout, so INnoVation is playing safe in terms of making that missile turret, but ooh, it does sneak in here, actually. If he can get into the main base, that would be huge right now.
The Jukes!
That's actually so important that he gets in here. It's so difficult to do on this map, but he gets inside, sees everything. We'll see even the glaive research. So now he's no longer worried about any oracles, doesn't need those turrets, just needs a defense in terms of bunkers. Turrets can be helpful.
He missed the extra 2 gateways that SOS just made. Oh, sorry, 3. Spoke too soon. And, actually, I guess it's 4.
It's an all-in. He knows it, though. He has the bunker on the way in the main base. He wants to protect his production. And he may just even lift the natural. He has 3 CCs to build SCVs from and go into triple mules, just hold up in his main base. Once he defends, he can expand later. He's going to have the better tech. He will have the longer lasting army with the stim, Medivacs coming out eventually. It's just a matter of defending this, holding this attack. Okay, even going to move this CC to actually get a better secondary bunker coverage.
Gonna totally pull from the natural. As you were saying, he's identified this as an all-in. And there is the lift going into the main. Already a bunker set up. Extra factory going down. And there is that. It's actually his first factory. He's made 3 barracks.
Yeah, he just wanted to have more units out early. So Medivacs are still a ways away. Probably make some Widow Mines out of that factory. Here comes the Prism. Turret here on the left side of the map. I think the secondary bunker is for that same reason. If somehow if it was Blink, which it's not, you would have that. And if it's another Warp Prism going to the main base, they'll have that secondary to set of defense.
Scan confirms, no gas, not that many probes. This is an all-in of the cheesiest kind. As many adepts as you can possibly make on 3 bases, 35 probes.
He wants to keep this wall tight. I actually really like this instead.
Oh, is he going to land it? It's too late.
Okay,
the adepts get in.
Can he actually make this work, though? +1's about to finish, and there's the secondary bunker we were talking about. He's in the mineral line here. So many SCVs are going to die, but the Adepts are going to be thinned out by this Terran army. The stim here is good, and he just defends this. The Shades now coming over here to the production again, but there's not a secondary mineral line to pick off of. Because INnoVation played this more safely, this is going to force the Adepts away. He has the turret to the top left. That second Prism can't accomplish anything, and his next Warpin is at home. Now there's going to be combat shields. Medivacs are soon to be on the way, and this attack certainly comes with a timer, with an expiration date. INnoVation will have the 3rd CC now moving over to the left expansion.
Yeah, this was a defense of TY proportions. Yeah. Really, really safe. He's like, okay, I just need to make sure I don't die to this, and every precaution was taken. The extra bunker, the missile turret, and when you're going for 3 CC specifically, you really have to take all of these precautions. But he just did it very, very well, so really got to hand it to him. We are going to see the follow-up attack, and the economy was, slightly damaged, but if he's still mining from 1 base, and if he can ever hold this off, he does have 3 CCs to produce SCVs and catch up in economy, so he's totally fine.
The first big problem for SOS, the first big roadblock, is actually going to be the first drop that heads towards his base. He has a mothership core at home. That was definitely an unnecessary landing there by INnoVation, but he has the mothership core at home and a few pylons, but it's not going to last very long. INnoVation's already like, okay, well, you don't have anything at home. I'm just going to outlast your overcharges, my first Medivacs. Send them across. Wall gets broken down here. But look at this, the bunker's still here. So many units. He doesn't even commit to the shade.
Yeah. SCV's already in position. He knows what he has to do. 7 more Adepts is the answer. We are seeing already +1, as you mentioned, and then +1 armor. And once that finishes, we'll make this even easier to hold off. Stim combat shields also finished.
I think he did see the Medivacs, so we should prepare at home for this. He's sending the Mothership Core. Actually, no, it's still on patrol. So the Mothership Core is just patrolling between the bases. This is obviously a very tight contain, but can he defend the drops? This is what I was talking about earlier. There's a big warp in of Adepts. Just needs some micro back and take the better exchange. He has the larger army here. As long as he doesn't fight under overcharge, he will win the exchange. Seeing the elevator in here now, but this is going to be a concave of Terran army. Feels like he's just feeding the units in at this stage. Down goes a gateway, and he's just finding other angles here in the main base. Looking for the snipe on the mothership core. Forces another overcharge, just avoids this. This is why contains don't last forever against a Terran army that can be moved by medevac, even on a large map like this. The overcharge is fading away here. He's actually probably going to be ready to break out soon. Already starting to do so, as you can see here. The shade in the main base to try to get that worker line. Double bunkers here, though. He has to cancel. Okay, here's the attack. SOS still has a large adept army, but you know this army of INnoVation is starting to whittle him down. And once he lands his CCs and starts mining some of from these bases and dropping additional mules, I don't think SOS will be able to hold on to the floodgates. This is one of his last opportunities. And he's not even going to commit to the shade.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because you see SOS as a head in supply, but it's really only adepts. And eventually, INnoVation will have the answer. He's moving down the ramp now.
Bio beats gateway units straight up with no AoE. He might shade this time, but no, doesn't even, and loses several adepts while he's hesitating. The problem is INnoVation is running out of money, and he needs to eventually land this base, or he will be Protossed by adepts. He's going to, I mean, SOS eventually makes enough adepts, and he can win this fight.
Will he commit here? Nope. That is the answer, and
he has to hold this
where
CC.
He comes down.
He has to fight this.
And he's going to use a bunch of his SCVs too. There are the mules dropping at the natural as he does secure it. And SOS, I think he's going to cut his losses and go home. But what an awkward spot for him. The only tech that he has is Resonating Glaives and a Robo. But INnoVation now on 3 bases. He does need to get that 3rd base landed, though. And SOS is going to continue putting on the pressure, and INnoVation smartly is not going to start mining.
As soon as he feels comfortable, he's going to come in here with the adepts on top of the army. Here come the SCVs. Does he have enough here? That's the big question. There's a lot of healing power here, and I just think that there's just too much Terran.
It's really close.
It actually really is close. Look, the SCVs are fighting as well.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man, he might not have enough here. It's actually so close.
I think he actually... The adepts have gone into the main. He's going for the SCVs. That is so much damage.
He salvaged the bunker. He salvaged the bunker as well in the main base. That's not there anymore. Wouldn't mind going to get a decent shot here. This is a crazy game we are watching. He's down to 9 SCVs.
9 SCVs, and, well, finally Liberators are being made here. That's definitely going to be useful in defending his bases, but, man, as you said it, I think he needed that bunker ready on the low ground, needed perhaps another bunker to go in because he took a pretty much straight-up fight against only adepts with no AoE.
Let's not forget that INnoVation has more money available in these bases than SOS does at home. He's been twice as cost efficient as SOS in terms of these exchanges, and he's going to be mined out at his natural soon. Then INnoVation's going to have all this juicy minerals that he hasn't mined yet here at this natural because he was contained for so long. And I think that's what's starting to happen here, is SOS is just running out of money, running out of steam, doesn't have the tech units to continue this. There's only 6 SCVs left, but with triple SCVs can come out of these command centers, you can definitely defend. And SOS win behind, I guess, Dark Shrine. He's not technically behind in supply, for example. He's way up in economy. He's taking the 3rd base, so he just wants to solidify his position here and keep INnoVation on the defensive so he can get that 3rd base up. What a crazy game this one has turned out to be, this series.
This is pretty unbelievable. I think maybe if SOS just stayed and cleaned up INnoVation's army, he might have just taken the game right there, but instead went for the SCVs. But look at this, a perfect angle to come on in by INnoVation.
Finds the Dark Shrine, he's going to target it here, going to take out these adepts as well. So 3 units being warped in for SOS. So expensive for him here, totally wasted. INnoVation should back off and find another angle here. Going to take out those 2 pylons. Doesn't know about the 3rd base just yet, but he's going to kill so many probes. The probes even fighting with this Terran army. Which just, you know, when you look at the supplies this entire time, it looks like SOS is ahead, but it's just simply not true because he doesn't have the tech. GG! INnoVation will take it.
Oh,
finally,
man.
What a game that ended up being.
Finally, we see a smile on his face, too. Oh, boy, what a nail-biter that was for every Terran that was watching, including INnoVation. And he will get that interview achievement. Definitely well-deserved. That was a real scary one. Especially that last attack on the low ground without Widow Mines. Only Marines and Marauders against that many Adepts is always going to be extremely scary.
Painfully to take the 2-0. This may affect his seeding going into playoffs, as he did drop that extra map to SOS. We'll have to look at the standings a little bit closer after this. He has so much internet to do, is what his shirt says. He's got the greatest shirts. I'm serious. Someone asked me about his last shirt he was wearing. I didn't actually ask him, and now I can't remember what it was, but I do want to find out where he's buying these amazing t-shirts.
So
Here he
much
comes.
internet to do.
So much internet to do. There he goes towards the interview. He does, with this win over SOS, confirm his spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's #1 as well, up there at the top. Actually, I think he's going to be ahead of Solar too. So there you guys do have it. We are going to have the interview with INnoVation. And let's see what he has to say. Very curious what he thinks about that last couple of games.
Let's see if he smiles. He better. There's a smile. He's trying to hide it, but get this translated for you guys. So, you've now also qualified for playoffs. So first of all, how do you feel?
3세트는 제가 너무 빨리 알아채가지고 제가 또 트리플이다 보니까 막으면 무조건 이긴다고 생각을 했는데 본진 자원이 말랐는데 내려갈 수가 없더라고요. 그래서
So basically he's talking about when we came to the third set, he wanted to take a third base, and SOS attacked me really early, so he knew that if he could defend, he'd win the game.
정말 궁금했던 게 역전 타이밍을 언제쯤 잡았을까 이런 생각이 들었거든요. 어떻게 생각을 하신 건가요?
아, 마지막 세트요?
네.
So in regards to that third set, when did you decide it was time for a comeback? Is the wording of the question?
그냥 투료선을 상대가
I thought it was ahead the whole time, honestly. The only hiccup was when I started to run out of money in the main base, so I was forced to take my natural.
결승 직행까지 또 가까워지는 거였잖아요. 어떤 마음으로 준비를 했고 좀 부담이 되지 않았는지 궁금합니다.
아무래도 오늘 민수가
So INnoVation, you're also kind of inching your way towards the finals. So she wants to know how he feels about that.
제가 유진이한테 좀 강하다 보니까 아무래도 좀 이기지 않을까 생각을 하고 있었는데 생각보다 좀 어렵네요.
네, 2대1 승리를 가져가셨기
So,
때문에
with the possibility of finals on the line, he really feels like he had to win no matter what.
2대0 아니면
And because he's got a really positive record against SOS historically, he did really want that win, and he was pretty confident.
민수 선수가 오늘 또 승리를 했기 때문에 이제 남은 경기를 통해서 1위가 결정이 되겠습니다. 김대엽 선수와의 경기가 남았잖아요. 오늘 또 김유진 선수 프로토스를 한번
So
상대하셨는데
your last match will be against Stats. How will you approach this matchup? Just for context, this is a rematch of the IM 경기 finals.
지금 민수랑 동률인데 승점이 앞서는 걸로 알고 있는데 같이 민수가 그냥 져서 올라왔으면 좋겠어요.
아, 강민 선수가 지고
Stats is a difficult opponent, he says. And I know that I'm tied in terms of games with Solar, but I'm ahead in set score.
한마디 할까요?
So I'm hoping that Solar loses his final match.
레더만 봐도 너무 잘해가지고
The idea behind the answer to his question is he thinks he might lose to Stats, so he hopes Solar also loses so that he can still remain in first place.
Solar's match is against Alive next week.
네.
Just
자,
so you guys
그러면 다음 주 마지막 라운드 두고 있습니다. 이제 결승 직행이 정말
So
눈앞에 아른아른
finally saying I'm going to try really hard this week, as winning that final match will send me directly to the playoff finals. So any final words to the fans?
요새 너무 안 해서 죄송하고요. 열심히 하겠습니다. 그리고 다음 주도 이겨서 결승
He says, sorry I haven't really been able to stream very much
네,
these
지금
days,
이신영 선수 만나봤습니다.
but I'm really working hard, practicing hard to try to go to the finals. So expect good things from you in the future. There you have it, INnoVation.
Yeah, hard to blame him for not streaming when you have this good of a chance to make it into the finals and pick up a nice paycheck and big win for him. So here are the match results from today. Stats did defeat BL 2-1. Maru took out Patience in a really quick series, the quickest of the night, 2-0. And then Solar took a 2-0 over Dark. Alive took down Zest in a Actually, really close one. They were alive, barely winning, and then INnoVation almost got Perdos to death by SOS. SOS trying to show as much of that as possible, but couldn't pull it off.
So as you can see, INnoVation is currently ahead in indicator points at +7 to the +4, 6-2 tied with Solar. Both of them will have tough opponents next week in Stats and Alive, respectively. But INnoVation is looking to be seeded directly to that playoff finals. That's not all for this week, of course. Coming up on Thursday, we are going to have SSL Classic. And on Saturday, will be some more SSL Challenge.
Yeah.
Zest and SOS are guaranteed to be relegated to the Season 2 Challenge as well with today's matches. They are 1-7 with a -8 set score. Here are the Classic matches on Thursday. Light versus Free, the TVP. Mine versus Sock. TVT. Sulky versus Hero as EBZ, and then Rain versus Effort for the PBZ. I'll be casting that with Reed Rapid Melton.
Faster caster.
The faster caster.
He's going to zoom on in on his private Jin airplane, cast that one, and he's going to cast with me on Saturday too for Challenge. You got Classic versus Deer, Byung versus Hero, and Ryung versus TY. Those last two matches specifically are pretty out of this world, guys. Even though Challenge is, you know, quote unquote, like the minor leagues here for SSL, some of the matches, especially in Stage 2, are fantastic. So make sure you guys are checking that out. It's also at a better time, actually, especially for NA.
That's right.
Check that out.
Check it out. Don't miss it, guys. We will have, of course, GSL on Wednesday and Saturday at 6:30 p.m. and 1 p.m. respectively there for Wednesday and Saturday. Don't miss it. That's going to be it for us for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you back here on Thursday for SSL Classic.
This world has got to change.